When we speak of protection, I'm referring to both here in our world and in the higher realm as well. Here in our world, unfortunately, just like in the higher realm, there are those that, based on their decisions, are not productive in a sense that their intent is not good. Their intent is to harm, to maim, to disrupt, if you will, the natural order of things. On some level, someone say, well, that's needed. But nonetheless, if your venture is to develop your psychic energy, those can pick up on your intent to do that and want to disrupt that. So for that very reason, you have to protect yourself. Okay? And there's different ways to do that. First and foremost, you have to look at your immediate environment and yourself. What is it that we need to be stable in a sense so that when harm comes our way or the intent to harm us comes near, we can spot it and then act upon it. So, starting with the body, you have to maintain yourself hydrated. Water is like the first on the list to purity. It's used to clean, it's used for all kinds of stuff, but you definitely have to maintain yourself hydrated. Second, what you eat. Okay. The more home-cooked meals that you can consume, the better, because you're the one behind the intent while the food is being cooked. If you're eating out a lot, you don't know that person's intent or energy while they're cooking your food. So eating a lot of food out can be disruptive in a sense. And then keeping balanced meals, fruits, vegetables, meats, grains, all that of the food groups. Make sure you're getting your proper consumption in all the groups. What you're taking in, visually, or what you're hearing, be conscious of that as well. Surrounding yourself with light, okay, using color therapy if need be, scented candles for aromatherapy, incense, that sort of thing. Those are all pluses. But more importantly, having that consciousness about you that, I am on a path, a lighted path, and will maintain on a lighted path is very important. And along that path, you will encounter to the left and to the right all kinds of things that are going to want to pull you off that path, and it's essential that you maintain yourself on that path. Okay? With that being said, you can always ask for help to maintain yourself on that path in the form of prayer, in the form of verbal affirmations. So that's important. On the higher realms, and again, this takes some training, being able to identify the entities that can help you and those that mean you harm. It takes some doing because some of these entities have been around for eons. And they're very good at what they do. They can present themselves as if they were angels, but they are not. So it is important that you have assistance when you travel the higher realms, so that It's like you say, if the analogy I'm going to use is like the Lewis and Clark, they were exploring um, the our continent, and they had an Indian scout, and the Indian scout would help them identify other tribes, sort of like that. You want to go into the higher realms and what have you. It's always best to have an entity with you, a spirit with you, a guide with you that can assist you in saying, let's not deal with this entity. This one over here is okay. Sort of like that. And never be in a rush. We talked about how we view time in cycles versus linear. So there is no rush when it comes to this. There should be no time frame or anything like that, because that can only impede the healing process, or impede the proper intent when venturing onto the higher realm. If you're going to assist someone and you need to go onto the higher realm to do so, be open to the fact that this may take a couple days or a week, however long it may take. But don't say, yeah, I'm going to do this and I'll have an answer for you by such and such time. That's not necessary. Okay. Also, when dealing with different aspects of psychic development, you will be tested on certain levels. I know I was. First my vision, first my hearing, then my vision, then the empathic, how I felt things, then traveling, so to speak, like that. And you have to be very cautious of who you share this information with. Okay? I talked about in the intro how I used some of that to just shock people, and I assure you that is the wrong way to go about it. You don't want to just shock people. So most of what you experience, what have you, just keep to yourself, unless you are involved or a part of a group in which everyone is pretty much on the same page with psychic development and intrigued by that work. Some of the things that can cause harm in everyday life are holes and make you vulnerable to some of the entities or individuals that will mean you harm or steer you off of that lighted path. Narcotics, alcohol, tobacco, excessive sweets, caffeine, medications, prescriptions, lust, greed. I know it sounds like I'm going down the list of the deadly sins, but in a certain level, that's exactly what we're talking about here. That can leave you vulnerable and susceptible to harm. And like I mentioned before, some of the entities on another realm been around for eons, and they've done this over and over again, found holes in those that are on a lighted path, and in some ways they have forever to work on you and pull you off of that lighted path. But others are very bold, and they'll snatch you off the lighted path if you have holes, big holes, concerning anything that I just mentioned. So if you find yourself at present time coping with any of those, whether it be alcohol or an improper diet, lack of exercise, whatever it may be, I would implore you to work on that first before venturing into the higher realms.